Hey, I'm Anthony Romano, and I'm going to show you the top 5 keto treats in this video. So these are keto snacks that are processed foods, and they're made with very wholesome ingredients. But some of these things you can't quite have all the time and remain in ketosis, so that's why they're treats. But nevertheless, I'm going to show you the best keto snacks that you can have. So this video is going to have all the foods you really would hope that it would show, like the stuff that you stereotypically can't eat on keto. You know, the ice creams, the cookies, the gummies, things like that I'm going to get into that you probably have missed on a keto diet if you've been doing one long enough. Now keep in mind, even if you're doing keto for, a long span of time like I do, you can still, of course, have strategic carb days. And it's not like, for the people who are new to keto, they're probably watching this thinking that, there's a cult of keto people who are just like itching all the time, like craving keto snacks. For the newbies here, that's not how this is at all. You don't crave carbs or any of these snacks at all. But these are simply snacks that imitate those foods, so that on those one-off days where you do want something like that, you can have them. So let's get into the first one. The first one, which is most sustainable, is Quest cookies, okay? I'll show you these, okay? Beautiful. And by the way, links to every single one of these products in the description. I can't stress that enough. All of these are on Amazon, normally at pretty good prices, especially if you get them in bulk. So that's the best way to go, and that's why I've left their links on Amazon. They're also available in stores, etc. But this is just a better way to get a good unit cost. So Quest cookies. Now, if you've had Quest bars before, you probably know, okay, the bars are not for everybody. They're not always like a chocolate bar. Okay, they're kind of like this slab which is moist, but it kind of resembles cardboard in a certain way. There are some good flavors, but for some people, they're critical of that. I personally love them, but the Quest cookies are not like that at all. They are seriously like homemade grandma cookies is what they remind me of. And they're just delicious. They're actually one of the most sustainable keto snacks and I'm starting off with them because they're low calorie, right? 250 calories, right? Like most bars, 200 mark. But the amount of carb ingredients in the package is really not going to leave you with a blood sugar spike at all. So you could have one of these every day if you wanted to, if you really have a sweet tooth. Now keep in mind, there are some ingredients in here like maltodextrin, right? In small quantities, like 1 gram basically, normally just as a filler and a thickener in that way. But the maltodextrin, things like that, are normally more of a concern in other products. In a Quest cookie, 1 gram of it is going to basically, the blood sugar spike it might have caused in another product is going to be blunted because you have a high presence of fat and protein in here. So realistically, when you have a blood sugar spike or blood sugar spiking food, when it's mixed with other macros, that blood sugar and insulin response isn't really going to show up. It's just going to be masked by the other ingredients, especially if we're talking a very small quantity of sugar here that's actually at hand, 1 gram of maltodextrin. So again, I am a fan of using whole food ingredients, and Quest tends to do this. A lot of the stuff they use is whole food and stevia sweetened, so that's something you want to look for. You don't want to see artificial sweeteners or sulfate potassium. Sucralose is less favorable. And for me, I am a little critical of, hydrogenated oils or vegetable oils. Now, a lot of them use non-GMO soy, which is good, but the soy lecithin as a emulsifier, don't even think it's in this one. But palm oil is not as optimal, but, I'm hoping that it's a very small amount in here, given that it's, combined with a bunch of other like natural ingredients like cocoa butter, and it's sunflower lecithin, by the way, and xanthan gum, baking soda, stevia extract. This is stuff that is almost as clean as can be. So there may be other cookie brands out there, but this one, very low carb, one of the best ways to go. Now, next one is these gummies, SmartSweets. Okay, SmartSweets are one of the ones that you can't have every day, I would say, they do contain tapioca starch. Now, tapioca starch it's an insoluble fiber. So basically, it's good because it feeds your gut bacteria. It's called an oligosaccharide. That's basically what feeds the healthy bacteria in your gut, like an inulin. But here's the thing. It will cause a slight blood sugar spike. So if you're somebody who's doing keto for therapeutic reasons, or you're simply need to remain in ketosis for whatever reason, maybe if you break ketosis, you're somebody who had addiction to food in the past or something and you just don't want to break it, maybe put this off to the side. However, I recommend the fish flavor because it tastes identical to the real red fish. Like, I can't stress that enough. This stuff is amazing. So link to this one in the description as well. But maybe I'll show you guys some clips of these things after too, because they look so damn good. Now, that's one of the ones that's more of a treat, right? You can have this occasionally and it will have a slight blood sugar spike, only 80 calories. It's mostly fiber for your gut. So there is that kind of trade-off here. You're getting some prebiotics for your gut, which is very beneficial. Prebiotics feed the probiotic bacteria in your gut. So that's what prebiotics are. But very sustainable snack you can have every couple days or something like that if you're somebody who truly has a sweet tooth. And with a lot of these things, they do have a little bit of sugar alcohols. This one, I don't even believe has any sugar alcohols. It's so, very easy to digest, just simply an inulin fiber that your gut bacteria is going to eat up. And, well, it's not inulin fiber, it's tapioca starch technically. But the taste is amazing. Natural sweetener, stevia. Like, you can't ask for anything better than this. Even for me, I try to avoid having real candy because of all the, hydrogenated oils in there, combined with high sugar. So even when I'm not doing keto type dieting, this is a snack that I regularly have. Okay, now this next one is going to be one of the most amazing inventions known to man. And this is the Quest chips. Okay, Quest chips. So essentially these things, okay, I'll show you them around, and then maybe I'll show you clips of them too. I got two flavors here. I got chili lime, and then I have nacho cheese. Okay, so these Quest chips are one of the best keto snacks ever, and realistically they should replace all chips. Not because they necessarily taste better. I think they do taste better than chips, but because when we're talking a natural chip, it's a game changer. Most chips, and people don't know this, most chips have so many extra added BS ingredients that are designed to trick your mind into being addicted to the chips. So most chips contain those ingredients. Quest chips do not. They're made from more whole food ingredients rather than, the basic pack of Lay's, okay? You can get higher quality chips, and I recommend if you are going to get chips on any diet, look for ones like severely vet the label here, like this part, the nutritional ingredients, right? Or the non-nutritional ingredients, because there is so much stuff that sneaks into the label, even if it isn't, listed. Like MSG is one of the worst ones. It's an excitatory neurotoxin, stands for monosodium glutamate. And this is one of the things that's rampant. It really should be illegal, but they're putting it in these foods and they're masking its name in the back here, because if it's not in a product more than 70%, it doesn't have to be listed. So that's pretty shitty and messed up. So don't do that. Get Quest chips, because these things are unreal. We're talking 140 calories for one whole bag. What bag of chips even has that? And then 5 carb, one of which is fiber, one of which is sugar. And then you have 6 fat and 18 protein. So high protein, low carb, moderate fat, which is very optimal for keto. And then you, like I said, with the Quest cookies, you do have 1 gram of maltodextrin. So if you have this after breaking a fast and you eat only this, yeah, your blood sugar will most likely go up a bit. So again, if you're somebody who's in that position where you have to have stable blood sugar all the time for a medical condition or therapeutic reasons, maybe have this with a meal and don't have it every day. But for me, what I love doing is putting this stuff on a salad, right? Instead of croutons or something like that, in addition to just eating it, because it's amazing. You could make like little sandwiches, like if you have those chaffle makers, like watch my chaffle videos, chaffles, which are cheesy waffles, basically keto waffles. You could make something like a chaffle sandwich and then have this on the side, it tastes like a sandwich and chips. It's unreal. These chips are incredible, and the chili lime one is great too. A little bit of spice in there, but similar macros. This one actually has 1 less carb, so 4 carb, very low carb. This is stuff that's not going to impact your blood sugar as much as something like the SMARTSWEETS, but realistically, if you have any of these foods in the context of another meal, you are going to be having very minimal blood sugar effect, very minimal keto dampening, if that makes sense. So one of the things that I love doing is one of these cookies is something I'll keep on hand, and that's something that's going to be less likely to spike your blood sugar. The chips or the gummies, things that are going to be more likely to, inhibit ketosis, those are things that go well with other foods. I have this with a chaffle sandwich. I have this with a big ass salad and like a big Chipotle bowl, right? It goes perfectly, right? And these SMARTSWEETS are a great dessert, so I'll have those after my dinner or something, and it satisfies the sweet tooth. And because I have other food in my stomach digesting at a similar time, you then have this dampening of the expected blood sugar and insulin spike. So I highly recommend kind of stacking this with other meals. That's why these are the treat video. It's not the on-the-go video, right? Or the other keto foods that I have on hand, other videos that I have up here, okay? So the next one is indeed protein bars, but the one I have here is a Quest bar. So this Quest bar is caramel chocolate chunk. So Quest does make some, bars, like I said, even though for some people they don't satisfy everybody. Like, look at this, they're very soft, okay? Like, I can bend this very easily, okay? It's squishy, I think it has a great texture. I love these bars, they're just great. For some people though, they're not the best choice. So there are some other options you can choose. Off the top of my head, you got One Bars, and there's another brand called Grenade Carb Killer bars. You want to look those up, or maybe I'll put a picture of them up here. But these bars are another great option, and depending on the flavor you get, they might impact your blood sugar, they might not. They're certainly not as safe like these Quest chip cookies are, like these things. They're certainly not as resemblant to real chocolate bars as these Quest cookies are to cookies, and these gummies are to gummies, and these chips are to chips, but they're a safe bet most of the bars that Quest makes in terms of blood sugar. So I would say these bars are great, but look for ones that are made with stevia. If there is one that's made not fully stevia, it will say on the package on the front. So example, this one has a little bit of sucralose. It has, I believe, 26 milligrams of sucralose. Let me check this. 31 milligrams of sucralose. So I'm not the biggest fan of sucralose, and I don't think you should be either, because sucralose is chemically similar to a pesticide. And at the same time, it is a newer sweetener. We haven't really seen the complications that it could pose in the future generations. So for me, I try to minimize my sucralose intake rather than, be too liberal with it. I'm not, a Nazi about it. I don't say no sucralose, but, for some people, that's what they should do. And I would do that if there were, more. I try to do that for the most part, but I just don't beat myself up if I can't live up to that 0 sucralose standard. Realistically, a lot of the foods contain way more sucralose than something like this, so that's why I bought it. But 90% of the Quest bar flavors don't even have any sucralose. So if you want to learn more about the sweeteners, you can watch my video on keto sweeteners and really all diet food sweeteners, because I go into way more detail and explain a lot of the complications. Another thing too is that sucralose, when it's heated, it becomes chemically similar to chloropropanol, I believe. So essentially, those are not good chemicals that you want to be consuming. In general, if you're going to have something with sucralose, make sure it's minimal. For me, I try to get supplements without sucralose. That tends to be more of the, avenue where sucralose will seep into your life. So avoid that. And the last one here is Halo ice cream. Okay, I'll probably throw in a clip up here because I don't have it upstairs with me in my house, but Halo ice cream is the last one because it is a true treat. Now, here's the deal with Halo ice cream. It has very comparable macros to things like these Quest bars, right? Where you have the whole dynamic of, 24 carb, but then it's 15 fiber and then 4 erythritol, so sugar alcohol. So basically, only 5 or 6 carbs are actually getting processed in your bloodstream. They're really the only active carb here. So even if you do have a bit of a blood sugar spike from this, right? Because remember, there's fat and protein in here as well, mixed together to kind of blunt that effect. The actual amount of carb that we'll get through is probably not going to do much to dampen ketosis. I know some other bars do have less optimized ratios of these macros, but Quest is generally safe for those, and Halo Top tends to have similar macro composition to these. And the thing with Halo ice cream is that it's very good, and you could even, if you have half of a serving, half of a tub, realistically, you're probably not going to see much blood sugar effect if you have it with a meal. If you have it on its own, right, most people have it as a dessert, so their stomach is already going to be, it's that same dynamic I explained a little bit earlier. With Halo ice cream, if you have half, you're probably safe, and if you have a full one, you, depending on, you know, your insulin sensitivity, you might be safe, but you might not. You still have to be careful. It's one of the ones that's a treat. Because if you start, here's the actual complication that will happen if you start having this on a regular basis. If you start having the Halo Top on a regular basis every single day, let's say every single day, 7 p.m. after your dinner, you have Halo ice cream and a full tub. You might get a tiny blood sugar spike from it, and you might find yourself every day getting hungry at that same time. And for a lot of people, maybe the people who were very overweight before, a lot of them kind of eat at that time to kind of fill a serotonin gap, or maybe they had some sort of need they were filling, you know, physiologically by eating sweets, right? Stress eating or something like this, right? So you don't want to restart that cycle of relief from, you know, stress or whatever by, you know, giving yourself a sugar kick. So problematic wise, it doesn't pose too many problems for people if they're just doing you know, a keto diet. But if you're somebody who's aggressively dieting, you got a wedding, you got a vacation, you got a shredded show that you have to be at, photo shoot or something, maybe don't include the Halo Top all the time. But the rest of this stuff you'll probably have much more leeway with. So another thing too is every flavor does kind of vary for the Halo ice cream, and it is something that's good to mix in with a bit of yogurt. I find you kind of draw out the life more of the actual tub, and you get this sort of, you know, less of the actual food consumed. So it's less of that sugar in actually making it in. But Halo does have some of the best, or Halo Top does have some of the best, you know, ingredients in the product. And the reason why I'm stressing Halo Top, because if you guys watch my videos, you know that I'm very picky about which brands I show and which brands and which products I show here. If I show a product that has something I don't like sucralose, I will tell you this and tell you to find the ones that don't have it. Halo Top ice cream really does, it appears like they really give a shit about their audience, because they have everything stevia, everything monk fruit. There's no problematic ingredients. And a lot of these other brands, they'll make a comparable product, but it will have sucralose in high amounts, or it will have a sulfate potassium, or, you know, they might not be as optimal with their vegetable oil choices. They'll use, you know, fully hydrogenated oils. They won't use natural saturated fats as the fats component in the product. So it's a clean ice cream product. Besides, you know, the keto aspect of it, the actual filler ingredients are clean. And if you go for like the PC brand or the other brands like that that are trying to make their kind of Halo Top, you know, competitor, you're probably going to run into a lot of those problems. You're going to run into more of those, plenty of hydrogenated oils, because they're so cheap to manufacture and put into products. And they're not made with proper discretion, like a Quest cookie or something like that. They're not made with just a small bit of a, you know, one of the least heat sensitive oils or something. These are just full on, they're dumping the cheapest oils into this ice cream product just to compete with Halo Top. So even though I don't have a visual of the product here, very adamant believer of how awesome Halo Top is. So that's it for this video. That was the best keto treats. And, you know, you have to urge discretion with a lot of these things, but I tried to give you an idea of how often you can have each one of these snacks when you're on a ketogenic diet. Ultimately, your purpose does matter, and, you know, what your goal is and how quickly you want it matters. So you have to contextualize what snack fits in best with relation to your goals. So if you need help with that, go to my website, romanoketo.com, and book a consultation call with me. Besides that, I have one-on-one coaching I offer, soon group coaching, and besides that, leave me some other questions that I can help you with. Thank you for watching this video. Anthony Romano, peace. Also subscribe and follow my Instagram. All right, peace.